Today we are launching once again another report. But for me, from my read, a very unique report that gets to the heart of something that we haven't seen before and we don't speak about is hidden homelessness within the traveller community. We all know that that the housing crisis that makes this report and other recent reports are so crucial. It's important to see the causes and the impacts of traveller homelessness and hidden homelessness in the region that this study investigated. And it's critical to have this come from the work of 6 traveller-led community development group voices, as Bridget already said. Again, it's so important to have traveller voices at the centre of all research and studies. The powerful case study in this report also reminds us that we're talking about people, about traveller families, and the life effects by the homeless crisis and hidden homelessness. Travellers are 22% more likely than the general population to become homeless. At the same time, homeless figures do not include the high level of hidden homelessness, overcrowding, couch surfing, etc. People living in your backyards. You know, we as travellers know that overcrowded and Anhattan sites is homelessness. We as travellers also know that having 2 families living in the one house, that the other family obviously hasn't got their own home, so they're homeless. And in this report, again, it highlights some of those facts. And that I've said in the launch of the Special Traveller Committee report was implementation is the key. You know, that if we're not going to implement these reports, if we're not going to implement the recommendations, well then, you know, we're not going to be part of any better future for traveller community. And what I said back in the launch of the Special Traveller Committee was that if the recommendations of the Special Traveller Committee was, because they're all similar linked, like the trespassing legislation, to repeal the trespassing legislation, to have our own traveller agency around accommodation authority. And again, they're very important, and we all do it collectively, but it's very important that we have the recommendations implemented by the government. So to say that the Joint Committee also and the expert review group highlighted the ongoing failures of local authorities. The traveller consultative committees are not working at a local level, nor are they working at a national level. The report states that the Europe ethos definition of homelessness should be adapted by all state bodies and government departments to better identify homelessness. Ethos definition defines 4 main categories, include people living in insecure housing due to threats of eviction or domestic violence, people living in substandard housing, which would include trailers, caravans on illegal campsites, or housing that is unfit or extremely overcrowded. We've touched briefly on that. People living in unacceptable conditions are not currently covered in the homeless statistics. The Human Rights and Equality Commission also noted that 12% of homeless children are in emergency accommodation. 12% of homeless children are members of the traveller community, despite that travellers only make up 1% of the population. Most importantly is to hold the departments to account for implementing the recommendations that was made here today, that was made in the Special Traveller Review Group, and that was made by the Irish Traveller Movement, etc., and other organisations as well. Again, it's not about reinventing the wheel, it's about implementing. One of our basic human rights is to have a safe place to call home. To many travellers, which should be highlighted here today, by the way, a trailer is a home.